It was the day of Krishna in the Kalachakra and was a Friday, and Radha and Govinda had just attended on Thursday the famous Aritel festival in Tiruvallur, celebrating the biggest chariot in the world. However, all through the festival, Radha had one question which was answered promptly in detail by Govinda, revealing some details which would easily shock the entire world, and yet is so apparent and obvious as well. Rad asked, Oi, mischievous Govinda, answer this. I am Radha herself in full, and you're Krishna in full, the entirety of Tirupati vacated, correct? Govinda says, Absolutely, we are the love king and queen. Radhu says, And yet, in the whole universe, you chose this place, Swami Malai, for us both to marry and live. Even in spite of Ooty, Tiruvallur, both of which are literally in Meru, you chose this place. Why? What's so special about this place, even beyond Meru itself? Govinda said, Extremely relevant and funny question, but I'm warning you, the answer might just shatter a lot of what you are believing to be true and replace all that with the real truth. Are you really ready? Raj says, Yes, as ready as I'll ever be. Tell me. Go on, tell me. Govinda says, Sweetie, we are in Swami Malay because you are where you always are, where you always are best suited to be. Raj said, Not funny. What kind of cryptic riddle is this you are throwing at me? Govinda says, Alright, let's break the shell here. Swami Malai and the area around this is the real and original Vrindavana, the Vrajabhumi, the land where you, Radha, and me, Krishna, have grown up, wonderfully played, enjoyed ourselves, and whatnot. It is that amazing place where ardent Krishna devotees worldwide would die to be born in, crave and yearn for a darshan, and to simply kiss the land once, fully prostrate. Yes, that paradise of love, that beating crimson heart of the entire universe, is this Swamimalai area. Where else do you think you and I, lovebirds, are going to live? Raj says, What? Are you really serious? Govinda said, Yes, the places in North India that are today considered Vrajabhumi were created by me for the benefit of true devotees who have love in them but haven't yet advanced to full and complete surrender. Didn't I make it clear in the Bhagavad Gita that this form of mine is extremely difficult to attain even for gods? What makes you think I'll publish the real Vrindavan and put it so easily accessible to everybody? Now I am doing so because 1. You are Radha and you own me. When you ask, I better do it the way you asked. And 2. Kali Yuga, the dark age, has ended, and this is the age of Satya, the truth. Raj replied, Now I am literally getting goosebumps. I've never really appreciated this place, our home, to this level until now. Vrinda, meaning Tulsi, is appropriate, with the holy plant growing lush in our home, even in the wild. This was the Yamuna then, the Kaveri now, along whose banks is our home literally. In both places, the air is filled constantly with the moving of cows, and come evening, the holy dust of returning cows. All around are beautiful greenery with coconut trees and plantations. Tell me the complete details and where each place of Rajabhumi is in this area. Govinda said, Sure, my Radu Chalame, let's start with the one main factor that gives the whole Vrajabhumi its power, the river Yamuna. This is essentially one of the 5 tributaries of the Kaveri river called Vennar. This means Vennayadu or butter river. And you know how much of a butter fan I am. I'll give 3 pieces of evidence to substantiate it. First, Vennar, that is Yamuna, flows in Meru, basically Tiruvallur. Remember here that all these tributaries of Kaveri trace their source also to Meru, Ooty, as in the Bhavani river of the Nilgiris. Second, this Vennar flows through Neeramangalam, which is clearly called Yamunamba Puri, and as such is confirmed by Muthuswami Dikshita in his song Santana Rama Swaminam. Third, consider the temple of Saranatha in Tiruchera. There is a shrine of me, baby Krishna, in the lap of Kaveri. You should know here that many devotees consider Yamuna to be one of the Shaktis and mothers of Krishna, and I have shown proof of this in stone. Now let's go to Mathura. We know it is on the banks of Yamuna, Vennar, and it is where I killed the demon. That's nothing but the temple of me as Neelamegha Perumal in Karandai, Tanjavur. You must remember that Tanjavur proper today as Brihadishwara temple, capital of the Chola kingdom, and so on. That is just 1000 years old, and prior to that, it was a farming village with the shrine of Varahi. In the Mahabharata days, the real kingdom was in Karandai. Here, the temple states that I killed three demons Tanjaka, Tandaka, and Taraka, taking the forms respectively of Veeranasimha, Manikunja Varaha, and Neelamegha. Tanjavur is named after the demon Tanjaka, who is an elephant, better known by the name Kuvalaya Pitha. Dandaka is known as the hefty built Chanura, who I killed by pinning him down in wrestling, which people have compared to Varaha drilling down the earth. Taraka finally is Kamsa, who is my enemy from former times where I, even as Muruga, had earlier successfully battled with him as well, and also once again with him as Kalanemi. Also, Tanjavur is home to my elder sister, Devi Yogamaya, who Kamsa tried to kill and for her to escape and warn him of my birth. This place is in Tanjavur, near the old bus stand, and she is called Nishumbasudini or Pidari, and is a very ferocious form, later worshipped by the Chola kings as a war goddess. Why is my birthplace called Mathura? To understand this, we need to look at a place called Sri Madurai and my name as Madhusudana. In the beginning of creation, the earth was not in orbit around the sun, and this was set straight by Rama in the form of Adivaraha. And there was no water, which was set straight by Shiva as the form of Nilakantha. But there was another problem. The tectonic plates of the earth were moving along very rashly, creating a lot of instability. This was nothing but a reflection of extreme instability in the information level, what is known to modern physics as quantum fluctuations. That is, at the causal level, every day as you wake up from deep sleep, the world is created as a dream. But since you, the soul, decided to lose yourself in deep ignorance, the desire and identity or Sakara Nirakara aspect are fully obscured, creating deep instability. Instability of Sakara, that is desire, leading to tamasic intoxication or madhu, was set right by infusing deep devotion and Nirakara love. Instability of Nirakara identity, leading to getting lost in polemics or Kaitabha, was set right by infusing a Sakara desire to knowing the reality and truth. Thus, I was called Madhusudana, and I set a pointer to this in the place called Sri Madurai in Meru. From there, the first human being, creation, and everything else started. Since this is all related to the mind, the first human being was named after the mind or Manas as Manu. Anyway, I was born in Mathura in the jail of Kamsa, and soon after I asked my father Vasudeva to cross the Yamuna and transport me to Gokul, to my foster parents Nanda and Yashoda. Gokul, literally meaning the family of cows, is no place other than Pashupati Koil. Pashu, of course, means cow, and the place is nearby Ayyampetai, a corrupt version of the original name Ayarpetai. Ayar or Ahir, meaning cowherder. Nearby, Nanda's palace is known by the name Rajagiri, and the collection of rice, grains, etc. is known by the name Pandaravadai, a correct version of the name Bandaravadi. In Pashupati Koil, I am worshipped by the name Varadaraja, and the temple is dedicated to the nakshatra of you, my very own dear sweetheart, Jeshta Radha. After spending about 3 years in Gokul, Nanda and Yashoda moved with me to Vrindavan, notwithstanding the atrocities of Kamsa and his army of demons. It is common logic that Vrindavan must thus be farther from Mathura than Gokul is, and that is the truth. Even today, the town of Vrindavan is known entirely in my name as Sundara Perumal Kovil. There is a magnificent temple to me here, reasonably big but peaceful without tourist rush. Wasn't that my aim from the very beginning? This temple marks the exact spot of my house in Vrindavan. Another interesting spot in Vrindavan is Mangar, a small hillock where you, my sweetheart Radha, would get angry, feigning anger in a cute love game pastimes, and go away. And then I would have to come and console you. This hillock today is known as Tirunallur, and it is a kilometer away from my temple and celebrates me, Sundara Perumal, as Giri Sundari, and you in your Shiva form as Panchavarneshwara Sundareshwara, changing no less than 5 colors every day, even till today. Mood swings and emotional hues are moments of love and variety it had. This place was also worshipped later on by Kunti and is often considered the symbol or rather starting point of the Magha star or nakshatra. Now we go to the grazing part. Me and the Gopi boys used to take the cows for grazing every day outside Vrindavan. Our favorite spot is known today by the names Avur and Govindakudi. Avur and Govindakudi, where A means cow and Avur means the place of cow. Avur has a Pashupatishvara temple. The other name Govindakudi is actually a version of Govandakudi, the place where the cows came. This place has a temple called Gomuktishvara. Nearby this is Pattishwaram, yet another important place named after cow. This time Patti, the calf of Kamadhenu. This place has a world famous Durga temple, and this is where the Gopikas of Vrindavan famously performed the Katyayani Vratam to get me as a husband. This temple is a Shakti Peetham with Shakti in the name of Jnanambika. This is where the sage Vishwamitra got Siddhi of the Gayatri Mantra before giving it to the whole world. In the same place, Patisharam, there is a temple called Tirshakti Mutsam, which shows Devi Parvati hugging a Shivalinga. Think for a moment about the hidden and deeper meanings of this, and you'll immediately know that this is the place where the famous Maharasa Leela happened all night long. There is another interesting temple in Patisharam called Gopinatha Swami, which is largely in ruins now. This is where you, as Shiva, disguised yourself as a Gopi, Gopeshwara, to partake of the wonderful pastimes of love. On the other southern side, from the grazing spot of Avur, is Uttukadu. This place is where the deadly serpent Kalinga lived, and I had to subdue the venom of this serpent by dancing on his head. Even today, there is a temple of me as Kalinga Nartana Swami with such an exquisite vigraha that defies all the rules of gravity and can't have been sculpted by any human. In fact, the leg of the vigraha does not touch the snake, and the whole weight of the vigraha rests on the left hand, which is catching the snake, and yet the vigraha has not once toppled over. The temple is extremely powerful, as even today Those who approach it at night can hear the music and flute from me and the Gopikas, and we all play around happily. But those curious people better be warned, though. Those who have heard it have also gone insane and lost their sanity. I mean, who's possibly going to match our craziness and intensity in love? Alright, enough of me. Let's talk about you, my darling Radha. Your father was Vrishabhanu, and his name clearly reveals his origins and place. This is nothing but the Adathai Tiruvavadurai belt. In particular, Adathai is home to Govindapuram, which today has a famous temple of me as Vittala Rukmini, albeit new. Eastward, there is Suryanar Koil, home to sun god. Even further eastward, there is the temple of Tiruvavadurai, famous for Nandi, the bull. In fact, this Nandi, who is essentially Rishabha, and Surya, also called Bhanu, is reflected in the name Rishabhanu of your father. This belt was also called Raival and was where you were born. When Nanda moved me from Gokul to Vrindavan, Rishabhanu moved you from Raival to Barsana. And oh, Queen of Barsana, this is where we come to our sweet home now. Swami Malai, the real Barsana, the sweetest of places, even holier than Vrindavan, the seat of you, the Atma, and the heart of the universe. The name Barsana is taken by some as a corruption of Vrishabhanu, but in reality, Barsana simply means Varsha Ana, to pour down rain heavily. That name is so because Barsana is the same place as that famous hill Govardhan and its notorious episode of 7 days of thundering rain. Now let's go to the history of Barsana. Lord Brahma once prayed to me and wanted to be blessed with the dirt of my feet on his forehead. For this reason, I blessed him to be a small platform on the earth, while I myself am the hill on top of him. Today, Swami Malai is a hillock temple, and in the ground floor are Meenakshi and Sundareshwara, essentially Brahma, of course. And atop the hill is Lord Muruga as Swaminatha, who is none other than myself. This is something even ardent of devotees of Muruga have missed. The real form of Muruga you see in all temples in general, and Swami Malai in particular, is me as Sammohana Krishna with a sugar cane in my hand, which is called Danda or Ikshukodanda. The real devotees of Muruga know this fact. In the song Subramanyana, Muthuswami Dikshitar addresses Subramanya Muruga as Venkatesha Nama Rupena. Similarly, every poem in Arunagiri-natha's Tirupugal always ends with the name Perumale, basically me. Thus, the hill of Swami Malai is indeed the same Govardhan that I asked Nanda and others to worship instead of doing blind rituals, because I am indeed the hill just as requested by Brahma. But this enraged Indra, the king of Devas, who poured down torrential rains, inconveniencing people who I then protected by lifting the hill. Meanwhile, you, my sweetheart, being Aindri, the Shakti of Indra, subdued and stopped the rains using your Agni Upasana. Indra later apologized and crowned me with the title of Govinda. The place where this happened is nearby Govardhan and today is known by Dhanasharam. Here, the event is celebrated in a temple called Airavateshwara, the lord of Airavata, who is none other than, of course, Indra. Also, in the Swamimalai temple of Govardhan, you can see the one form ardent devotees yearn for, a very, very tiny sculpture of me, the cute child Krishna, crawling. Returning back to Barsana, Nanda venerated this place very much, given its significance, and visit here often, also visiting Vrishabhanu, and thus me visiting you. In the early days of me moving to Vrindavan, it was on one such visit that Nanda brought me to you, leaving us in solitude giving me to be taken care by you, owing to a very, very strong storm that hit. And then we married, officiated by Brahma as Sundareshwara himself. The exact spot of our marriage is none other than the home we are in right now, directly below the swing we enjoy ourselves in. In this same spot, we married this time also. I put the garland on you amidst all kinds of sacred chants and offerings to the Homam. All the gods and deities celebrated our marriage this time. They marked their presence through the sacred fire and Homam as well. After which the heavens showered rains on us, concluding the ceremony. You know all that too well, don't you? In fact, the region adjacent to Swami Malai is named Tyaga Samudram, entirely after you, my beloved Radha, who is the Tyagavalli Jeshta Devi. This place is in between Barsana and Vrindavan, and even today is a thick forest of bamboos, Venu Vanam. Now you know where my flute came from. A bamboo gives up its own self to me, and I honor it by making it the most cherished instrument in the world. Listening to all this, Radhu said, True, and boy, this is deep history, all being rewritten back to the truth. Govinda said, Now let's go to the later years of our life. I had to leave this paradise of Vrindavan for Mathura to kill Kamsa and then being crowned king. I had to deal with demons like Jarasandha repeatedly and also foreign Turkic Greek ones like Kalayavana. I got tired after the point and decided to move the entire kingdom to Dwaraka. Those who believe in Mathura location being in North India also think Dwaraka is in West India, but that makes no sense. If I wanted to escape from a western demon, Kalayavana, and a central Indian tyrant, Jarasandha, how could I possibly move to central West India? The real Dwaraka is also right here, beside Tiruvaru. And the Skandapurana Nagarakanda clearly states how the Tiruvaru area was indeed converted to a Dwaraka. Thus, Dwaraka is nothing but the place called Rajamannargudi, Mannar meaning king. Even today, this is the grandest temple, celebrating me as Sri Vidya Rajagopala Swami. This was my palace, my Dwaraka, the place I cherished and built so carefully and wonderfully. Indeed, the statement that Dwaraka was taken back by the sea after my time was a ruse I created to protect the place. As I was ruling here, I couldn't live without you, nor could you without me. Without each other, we are incomplete, and you know that really well. So you came and lived here too, not as a queen, but disguising yourself as one of the workers in the palace. Typical of Jeshta to always hide herself. But soon, we found out that this wasn't helping either of us. Living in absence, out of sight, is far, far better than living well within sight but deprived of physical contact. This pain is the deepest hell on earth, and we both know it. You went and lived nearby. This place is still today called by the name of you as Radha Mangalam and is near Abharanadhari, also known as Avarani, another place which has a temple of the world's biggest reclining Vishnu at 21 feet long. Avarani is part of Radhamangalam and is considered a part of the temple of Tirukannangudi. This itself is a part of trio of temples dedicated to me in this region: Tirukkannapuram, Tirukannangudi, and Tirukkannamangai. Also noteworthy is the temple of Kapistalam near Pashupati Kovil, where the famous event of Gajendra Moksha took place. No discussion about our life is ever complete without talking about the most bloody war in human history, the Mahabharata. For this, we need to understand that both you and me were born in a long lineage called Chandravamsha or lunar dynasty. The origin point of this dynasty is Chandra himself, the moon god. The origin point and this Chandra is also called Soma. This is from Tingalur near Kapistalam, even today worshipped as a moon temple. His son Buddha had a son Ila, or who is said to have ruled from a confluence of Prayag. This is none other than the Chichi Srirangam area where the Kolidam and Kaveri rivers are joining. The dynasty includes illustrious kings like Yayati, Yadu, Pururavas, Nahusha, and even Shibiraja, who built the temple of Pundarikaksha in Tiruvellarai near Trichy. The temple is older than the famous Srirangam itself. The capital of Kuru dynasty or the Luna dynasty in the days of Kuru and his descendants were mainly two. One was Kurukshetra, named after Kuru himself. This name is a corruption of Karu, meaning womb. This is known today as Karur and was the center, the battlefield of the entire Mahabharata. The most skilled warrior of the war, however, was neither Pandava nor Kaurava, but one known as Barbarika or Iravan, who, by my request, was sacrificed for the war and saw it from an overlooking hill, which is today known as Tantonzi Malai, where there is a temple of me, Prasanna Venkateshwara, in a way to celebrate my role in the war and the teachings of Bhagavad Gita. Another Kaurava capital is Hastinapura, named after the temple Hasti. This is today called Tiruvane Kaval, Anai meaning elephant and Kaval meaning a fortress. This place is also near Trichy. There is also the temple of Rockfort in Trichy, dedicated for Ganesha, the elephant god. Thus, this is Hastinapura. In response to quarrels between Pandavas and Kauravas, I had established for Pandavas a new capital called Indraprastha. This place is none other than Ponnamaravati, named after Amaravati, the capital of heavenly Indra. This place, which is near Pudukottai, was created by destroying a forest, Khandava, full of snakes. Even today, nearby Pudukottai, there is a place called Perayur, where there is Nagamalai, a hill of snakes, with a temple as well. In Ponnamaravati, me, the Malayappa of Tirupati, is worshipped as Malayandi, the Muruga form. The kingdom of Magadha is named after Mahadeshwara, which itself is named after the deity of Shiva in a tribal version, worshipped in the Malay Mahadeshwara hills near Salem. Jarasandha was from this kingdom, and it was to escape his unrelenting attacks that I had to move from Tanjavur, which is Mathura, to Dwaraka, which is Manargudi, as doing so would make him cross all the tributaries of Kaveri, making invasions using army a difficult task. Other important kingdoms of Mahabharata I shall now mention in passing. Gandhara was none other than present-day Trivandrum, where even today there is a temple to Gandhari. This region, home to Shakuni, the mastermind of all evil in Mahabharata, also has temples for their fallen heroes such as Duryodhana and Ashwatthama. Anga, Vanga, Kalinga kingdoms are famous especially in the context of Karna, the eldest Pandava brother who was abandoned. This is in the present day areas of Vruddhachalam, Kallakuruchi, and Viluppuram, with their capital even today known as Vengai. Then there is Pragjyotisha, where there lived notorious demons like Banasura and Narakasura. Narakasura was from present day Nagarkoil, which has areas with explicit references to Patala, such as Talavai. Banasura lived in nearby Kanyakumari, and the virgin form I took to slay him is worshipped today as goddess Kanyakumari. Another funny demon was Paunzaka, who lived in present day Poundarikapuram near Kumbakonam, who went around impersonating me, invading Dwaraka no less, and then getting killed promptly by me. Another significant kingdom was Vidarbha, famous not only in connection with my enemies Rukmi and Shishupala, but also home of my dear wife Rukmini, whom I had to kidnap before being married forcefully and preventing her forceful marriage to Shishupala. The kingdom derives its name as the sole custodian of the Darbha grass, so named because earlier Lord Rama had rested on a bed of Darbha in Tirupullani near Ramanathapuram, which was indeed the kingdom capital. The Durga worshipped by Rukmini is famous even today as Devi Pattinam. Now, In the causal yantra, we need to note that the hexagon and triangle denote fire and sun respectively, and the places Tiruvallur and Ooty, which we call Arur and Meru, the bindu in the center is the love accessible through the other two. This denotes the moon, and in this area of Rajabhumi, whose capital is Swamimalai. I am calling this region Vairur, and here's why. Barsana may also be a correction of Vrajana, Vraja meaning Tyaga, and that in turn named after my sweet Tyagavalli. Vraja is also derived from Vajra or immortality because love is eternal. Vajra is also lightning, denoting Indra and his attacks on Govardhan. To celebrate the victory over Indra, the Heaven King himself presented me with diamond, a diamond veil, and this is called Vaira veil. And this Vajra veil or Vaira veil is even every Thursday, even today, applied to the god Swaminatha. Hence, I named the whole Vrajabhumi centered around Swamimalai as Vairur. Meru and Vairur are seats of the two most famous deities, namely the solar and the lunar, or Surya and Chandra, respectively. But the Chandra dynasty, even today, are seen as the Yadavas or Idayas or Konas. But most people forget a third dynasty, the Fire dynasty or Vahanikula, whose descendants are Vanyas. Their capital was Tiruvallur. From this illustrious dynasty was Panchali, also called Draupadi, whose temple can be seen at Annavasal near Kodavasal, where I presented her with an Akshaya Patra, a never-ending vessel of food. The name Panchala comes because of the five gopuras of Tiruvallur as Pancha Alayam, and Draupadi herself is known as Yagyaseni, having originated from the fire of the Homakundam. Now, the purpose of your entire incarnation was as a tapas, to show the world how, in the original causal level, Radha and Krishna are mother and child, and Radha owns Krishna. Hence, the entirety of her love developed in Viraha, in my form as Vigraha, owned by you, and not by my human form, as I was neither same age nor you as you, nor were we together except brief moments off and on throughout our lives. The Vigraha you had of me throughout your life was the one resembling the form I took in your own Barsana as the Govardhana Girisha or Swaminatha. This Vigraha that you owned today is what we see as the temple of Krishna in Udupi. The resemblance of this form to Swaminatha, even with holding the danda, can be seen very easily. Finally, you decided to end this incarnation and in your last days wanted me to play the flute just for you, which I did, and then broke it to pieces. You decided to shed your mortal coil in Nagapatnam and took the name of Nilaya Dakshi. When my incarnation was over too, it was time for me to merge back into you. So I too came to Nagapatnam and took the name of Dehotsarga. You took the form of Shiva and accepted my entire form inside you, which is why you are called even today as Kaya Arohaneshwara Swami. Kaya Rohaneshwara Swami. Nagapattinam celebrates me too as Sundararaja Perumal temple. Earlier to my passing away, my brother Balarama too passed away in this place, regaining his original Naga form of Adisesha and giving the entire place its name as Nagapattinam. The place we both passed away can't be anything short of the capital of love and Anbu. And since Anbe Shivam, Nagapattinam is rightfully called Shivarajadhani. Even reminiscing about our death brings tears to my eyes. Additionally, I also took form of Venkatesha as Tirupati. As you prepared to take on your next incarnation to continue the tapas. Meanwhile, as my body was cremated, I let the heart alone remain unharmed, and this was installed in a temple by the name Jagannatha, which is today known as Nathan Kovil near Patishwaram, because my heart always belongs to Vrindavan. This place was called Purushottamapuri or Puri, a copy of which is today in Orissa. It is called Neelachala, named after you, my Chellam, Neela Devi. After passing away, you took many forms throughout history. With this form of Rad, your final, as I was in Tirupati all this while, vacating the hills to join you now in your latest form. One of the most significant incarnations you took in the Kali age was that of Jesus Christ. As is typical of all other incarnations, the details of this form also had been subject to heavy twisting and misinterpretation in the Dark Ages. The life of Christ was a wonderful journey that started at Merur and ended in Arur. Here's how. After the Mahabharata, while on the one hand the Luna dynasty of Yadavas destroyed their own race, the Solar race, calling themselves Rameshas after Rama, were slowly degrading in quality as well, earning such a reputation as barbarians, tribals, and uncultured. Innocent people vacated the place, wandering aimlessly for years on end, until they were promised a land by me, a confluence along the Kaveri river. This land is called Erode and named Israel or Ishar Alayam, referring to the Bhavani temple created here as a replica of the Uti Bhavani temple. The tribes were called with reference to the side of the river on which they lived, such as Appuram or Ippuram, farther side and near side, corrupted today as Hebrew. It was to this place that these innocent people were led by a sage Moses named after Maheshwara. This sage formulated new laws and commandments of righteousness with divine inspiration in the hill Chennimalai, also called Sinai, where there is a temple called Muruga for me to this day. Sennimalai, Sinai, the name is obvious. This hill is a very famous hill where Muruga is worshipped as the primary deity, and as you might already recollect, the form of Muruga is none other than my own self. Having established a settlement thus in Erode, the tribes settled in various towns in and around the place, with a lot of illustrious sages and kings such as David and Solomon ruling over them, even while they were indeed subject to rule from outside and neighboring regions based on which kingdom was imperial at the time. One of the towns settled by this tribe was Nazareth, a corrupted name of Avinashi, where spiritually advanced people called Essenes or Ishanas lived. Joseph and Mary were among this tribe. Here too, they had created a replica of Uti Bhavani and Bhavanishwara in the name of Karunambika and Avinashi Lingeshwara. However, for the purpose of Christ's nativity and taxation rules, they had migrated to nearby Palladam, the place called Bethlehem. It was already a township by the time, and for the birth of Christ, there were no inns or rooms available, and they had to resort to a manger. After spending his childhood in this place and Nazareth, Christ extensively spent 18 years traveling all through the region, learning all kinds of wisdom, returning back to Erode. Here he preached the wisdom of love and bliss, which would render largely redundant and irrelevant all the astral and physical wisdom such as the one set right by Moses. This caused friction within the community, and as a punishment, Christ was exiled to the hills of Kolimalai, where he was to be hung from a tall palm pine tree trunk shaped like a T. So, marking the place today is Kollipavai, a deity brought with the powers of death, while Christ, following the teachings of Moses, was called Masi Periyaswami. There was neither crucifixion on a cross nor nailing, unlike what most misinterpreted informations convey. It is more appropriate to call this a lynching attempt rather than an actual crucifixion. And Christ himself used this chance to purify himself, demonstrate to people the destruction of ego in favor of real identity. The cross represented the body consciousness. Christ himself, as the Son of Man, represented the human ego, which was promptly killed by the lynching attempt. And when he was resurrected after 3 days, It represented the Son of God, or rather the divine ego or the divine identity blossoming forth. He, being yourself Radha, spoke extensively about his love, basically me or Krishna describing me as his father. After surviving the punishment ordeal in Kollimalai, Christ took leave of the few devotees that had gathered there and migrated further towards Tiruvallur. Here, he lived in Perumbannayur, nearby Tiruvallur, even marked today by a big church, finally passing away in this same place, only to take up the next incarnation. While here as Christ, you taught extensively on love, especially the SS kind, or rather the Sakara kind, in alignment with the area you were in. So, this was the kind of love that you had focused on. As a template, you stressed on that wonderful temple of Vrindavan, namely Tirunallur, which legends also describe as the temple of the Maghasta. You stressed on aniconic worship, quoting as examples Hatakeshwara and Tirunallur itself. It is this teaching that has been taken on in later times as a completely another religion, with the temple of Magha corrupted as the name of Mecca, and calling these teachings the Maghamata or Mahamata or Muhammad. To reflect the color change 5 times a day, you asked people to pray 5 times a day. The Muslims today call it the namaz. Thus, from Tanjavur, the birthplace Mathura, to Tiruvallur is the love circuit. The places we lived, loved, laughed, cried, enjoyed, fought, played, and danced. This is the most sacred location of the universe, more than Meru itself. That's because Ooty and Tiruvallur are expressions of love as desire and affection, respectively. But Rajabhumi is love itself and nothing short of it. That's Vairur. The maps to summarize the locations and the places' names are indicated by numbers as follows: 1. Mathura, Tanjavur; 2. Gokul, Pashupati Koil; 3. Rishabhanu, Aduturai; 4. Yamunambapuri, Neeramangalam; 5. Vrindavan, Sundarperumal Koil; 6. Govindakudi, Avur; 7. Kalinga Uttukkadu; 8. Maharasalila, Pattishwaram, Nathan Koil; 9. Barsana, Swamimalai; 10. Tarashuram, Airavateshwara; 11. Dwaraka, Mannargudi; 12. Radhamangalam, Avarani; 13. Meru, Tiruvallur; 14. Dehotsarga, Nagapattinam. Even as Govinda was describing the last portions of these, of the death of Radha and Krishna and Christ, tears were welling up intensely in both of their eyes. Radha hugged Govinda tightly and let the river of tears flow uninterrupted for a while. And then our beloved Radha celebrated Krishna Day just like good old times. She walked all the way from Barsana to Vrindavan, hand in hand with Krishna, chatting and teasing all the way, played with him there, and returned back to her Barsana. Krishna surprised Radha on the way with parrots, Godarshan. Somebody joined the Kausal Yantra as Rangoli, and a child tied to its tummy by its tummy to a post, of course, reminiscent of Damodara. And finally, the good old temple of Swami Malai and the temple elephant of Swami Malai as well. Thus is revealed the Krishna Paramarahasya.